Good evening, everyone. My name is Ayush, and welcome to a fresh new episode and the final of episode of Growth Rap 2020. Growth Rap 2020 is an exciting series of fireside chat wherein we at Growth Folks are inviting industry leaders, and we are going to have a one-on-one conversation about how this industry is performing, what happened in 2020, what are the lows, what are the highs, what we can expect, and many other things. Uh, in this entire series, we have already covered OTT space, health tech, ed tech, aviation, gaming, SaaS, and today we are going to talk about the rental industry. A lot of people don't know much about it and how it performs, how it shaped up in 2020 and the year before that, and how it's going to be different in 2021. And for the same, today I have with me Tulika Shukla. She is the Associate Vice President, Brand Strategy and Communication at Rento Mojo. She has an experience of 8 years in digital marketing and brand building for FMCG brands and startup. She loves problem solving through consumer insight and is focused to create a brand that consumers love in an emerging category. She has been with Rento Mojo for over 5 years. So welcome on the fireside chat, Tulika. It's nice to have you.
Thank you, Ayush. Thank you for having me. And I'm so glad that you resonate with the industry that you almost mentioned when I worked with your ex-company.
Yes, and that's something that I have prepared myself for, that I should not take that particular name, which I might be going to take accidentally. But yeah, please don't mind that. All right. So as I said in the intro itself, a lot of people don't know what exactly rental industry is. Like people generally resonate to rentals with two things: either you rent a particular house or you are renting a particular vehicle or something like that, but there are a lot of other things also. So can you just throw some light on the entire rental industry in general, what all things, how it works a little bit?
Right. So, before I joined Rent2Mojo, Rent2Mojo launched in 2014, right? Same month. So it's been almost 5, 6 years of the organization. Before that, even I did not know a lot of,
Yeah,
products or categories that could have been rented.
right.
I also knew mostly about houses. I knew mostly of, uh, you know, uh, clothes in an unorganized market, maybe books. But today, when I see there are so many products that are available to be rented, right? And this has been a great journey. I was talking to someone, and as I mentioned to you also, we had created a small video when Rent2Mojo launched and we started on our growth journey. We created a small video and we were asking people, what are the kind of products you think can be rented? And they mentioned about houses, they mentioned about vehicles. But when we asked them that, hey, did you know that you can actually rent furniture? And they were like, what? So we received some very hilarious, very surprisingly,
Okay.
pleasantly shocking reactions, and it was quite new to them. There are definitely early adopters who are, there are
Mhm.
people who are very curious about a new service, very curious about products which are out there in the market, and they want to test it. And that's how we also got our early customers. But to
Right.
make sure that people understand, it was definitely an uphill journey. And the way it works, I think now there are organized players in the market that have made the entire journey very simple,
Yeah.
especially to talk about furniture, appliances, the core category that in which we are in. You have an unfurnished flat. There is a need to furnish your home. You simply come on the website, you check out the products that you want to rent.
Yeah.
There's a small KYC process a few organizations have to secure their products also. And usually these products are delivered sort of free of cost to your doorstep. So I think the process these days is very, very convenient, very, very easy. And that is something that I can call rental industry in a nutshell.
Nice. That was like really, like it was good. It was compact, and you covered all the aspects. But one thing that we all know, and since I've also worked in the same industry, there is a term called sharing economy,
Yeah.
and I guess that is the pillar, or that is the foundation of the entire rental industry. Could you speak a little bit about sharing economy?
Definitely. I think there is a lot of, awareness and consciousness in the consumers today.
Yeah.
I was reading a friend's post on Instagram today, and she mentioned that how, when the kids are growing up, there are so many toys that parents spoil their kids with, if I may say, or let's say just buy, and try to give a lot of abundance. The kids don't even want to play with most of the toys, and they are just gone wasted, or they just go in vain. So slowly, and she was talking about how there should be a limited number of choices for the kids, and let the kids figure out in terms of what do they like, and then definitely have abundance. So I think these are the kind of things that people are now started thinking about. There's a lot of conversation and there's a lot of awareness about environment as well, and that is why the kind of businesses which are based on sharing economy, which are based on circular economy, are growing. And I feel this is really the need of the hour. People need to think about the environment. People need to think of what is really required, and today people are smart. Today people are making those conscious choices wherein they don't want to take products for for a small need, and then the product is just lying and they don't know what to do with it. So I think that's a great approach that a lot of people have, and I think sharing economy, as we all know, is definitely going to stay.
Nice. All right. Now, this entire conversation is going to be like, I'm going to specifically ask you questions about how the situation was before March 2020.
Yeah.
How was the situation after March 2020, and what we can expect in 2021. So talking about the first phase, it's been a while that you have been in this industry, and what do you think were the early challenges that this industry had to overcome to be at place where it is right now? Because before March, at least we know that a lot of rental players had made a mark in the in the ecosystem, not just for furniture, appliances, and all, but different other vehicle rentals, different other house rentals, and all. So, what all challenges they had to overcome according to you?
I think the first and foremost thing in the Indian context, I would say renting has always been attached, or renting has always been seen as a stigma in the society, right?
Okay.
You're renting because either you cannot afford it,
Yep.
or you mostly you can't afford it, and you shouldn't be using it for a long time. You don't know where it is, where is the product coming from. So even when you're looking for houses, I think it's been a long time that now people are renting, and hence that stigma has gone out. But especially in the case of clothes, especially in the case of furniture, appliances, vehicles also, cars, for example, people did not have a lot of education in terms of how are the products going to turn out, because they did not have the belief that the quality of the product would be good.
Right.
And what is the kind of process. There was also a little bit of dar, I would say. People were scared using these products because what if something goes wrong, what if I sort of spoil the sofa or spoil the car seat, what is going to happen, are they going to charge the entire money of the product, etc.
Right.
So I think the initial year, especially in my in our industry, went in building right education to customers.
Right.
Why is renting convenient, why is renting affordable, why the quality when you are renting through an organized platform is better than you may see in an unorganized platform, etc. The kind of steps that we would take to sort of refurbish the entire product and then deliver. So I think the first 1.5 2 years went in educating people and sort of changing the consumer thought process bit by bit. And when other people started seeing these if I may say, the early adopters using these products, using these services, and when they started talking about this entire service positively is when a lot of people also, jump the wagon and they said, hey, you know what, this is something cool, this is something that we can definitely use. So I think first was the stigma, then went a lot went in education, and then strengthening the entire category. It was so encouraging to see different brands coming in, so many other organizations coming in and thinking about and starting rental industry, because it only gives a lot of confidence in the category that you're building. So I think we were fortunate that within this, a span of 5 years, there were so many organizations who came in and, sort of build the category. So I think this was, this is something that happened in pre-March 2020. Yeah.
Understood. And on an overall level, if we talk about the entire industry, we have seen that they are highly active and they have been quite successful in operating as well if we consider the tier one geographies. But that has not been the case when we talk about tier two and tier three. So what do you think about that? Like, is there any roadblocks which is hindering it, or is it just the operational cost that comes in the rental industry that is stopping the people from exploring tier two and tier three cities?
I see 2, 3 factors.
Yeah.
Before we go there, I also feel that the concept of renting is very much there, especially, it may not be in the category that, you and I be speaking to, or you and I be dealing with, but, there are, in tier 2, tier 3 cities, there's a huge unorganized market of dating bridal jewelry, renting bridal jewelry, and, renting bridal clothes. So the concept is very much there, but when you talk about the categories, when you bring the categories into tier 2, tier 3 cities, I think the demand is less. I think it's a whole lot. It's a huge game of demand and supply, and there is less demand because there is not a lot of movement from one city to another. Even if there is, I think the resources are very much available. I come from a very small town, it's called Bhilai, and in the last 10 years, I have seen that town grow many folds. And I know that there are so many colleges. There's a medical college, there is an IIT, there is, there are several engineering colleges, and there are so many students from, the nearby towns or villages who come and, they're living there. So I think when there's so much of access to opportunities, there is a lot of movement that will happen. And once there is a demand like this, supply for services like ours will definitely be there. We've recently launched in Ahmedabad, and I think that's a signal where people definitely want services like these. Earlier, most of the cities which probably would have provided a lot of opportunities were the tier 1 and the metros. But today, there are so many organizations that are very, very open to having people work from wherever they want to. And once that happens, I think the kind of conversations that will be there, the kind of opportunities that this entire situation will open up is definitely going to see a lot of opportunities. So yeah, I definitely feel yeah.
All right. So I consider that tier 2, tier 3 cities haven't been explored even 1%, to be very honest, because we have just started seeing people now going to that particular geography, but still a lot of tier 1 cities are also not yet done. So
I agree.
I completely agree to what you are saying. But you happen to mention about a thing which is called category, you mentioned. And category plays a very vital role in the rental industry because people want to be the king. Like, customers are the king, as they say. People want that, okay, they should get it in their price, they should get it in the shape, size, color, whatever. Having said that, a lot of people are now taking one step ahead and have started renting out various different other stuff as well. So what's your take on this? Like, is there a prescribed way that, okay, no, these particular things should be rented, can be rented, and it makes sense to start renting it out or start a category of that? Or you can end up renting out or going ahead listing everything? Because for example, let's say there is this startup which is renting out branded handbags, luxury handbags from international brands. So if I talk about it to some people will be like, okay, does it really make sense? Who
Hmm,
wants it?
hmm,
And but at the
hmm.
same time, if I talk to the founder of that particular startup, he would surely help me with few points which will help me make sense. So what's
Yeah.
your take on this?
I think when we started, I'm sure, our leadership team must have also been questioned that, do you really think people will end up renting furniture?
Yeah.
But I think there are certain blanket categories that now we are all aware. Unless you see there is a particular demand, and unless people get educated about it, you never know whether there is a market and there is, a growth of that category or not. But I think that there are certain blanket categories, like houses, like bakers, now furniture, appliances. Now we are renting. We on our platform we also have mobiles, laptops. So I think, and now, like you mentioned, there's one startup that is giving out handbags. I also mentioned there's an unorganized market. In fact, a few organized websites as well who give out clothing on rental, especially the
Can
bridal ones.
can it not if you can take an example? Yeah.
Yeah, so there is the one that I know of is Date the Ram.
Yeah.
There was one called Flyro, and
Flyro.
so these were the ones, some fantastic initiatives where you don't have to spend a lot on your outfits, and you can simply take designer clothes on rent, and you can attend an occasion. So I think there is a lot of niche categories that are also developing because there is a need. I don't want to spend, let's say, a 35 grand on a traditional outfit that I know I'm not going to wear the next, the whole year. So I might as well pay, let's say, 3 or 4 grand a day, and simply wear like a nice cloth and attend a function and come back. So I think a lot of niche categories are also, sort of coming up, depending upon the needs. A friend of mine, along with her husband, they're actually starting a startup. They're actually starting this organization. In fact, the operations have already started in Goa, wherein they are sort of offering strollers and baby carriers for the families who are traveling to Goa. Yeah. With really young baby or a really young kids, and you really don't have to take a baby carrier or a stroller or things that young kids may need. And they have identified that when people are traveling, they anyway have so much for the baby of themselves, and they don't want so many products to be carried. So they've identified that need, and they are doing that in Goa. And I'm sure if they see good response, if the service is good, they may expand as well. So in my opinion, I think these categories, or sorry, these niche will be, sort of identified, and renting will see the next level in these niche categories.
Got it. Because why I was curious to know your views on this, because a lot of while I was at my previous stint, we also had discussed a couple of things that okay, we can start it off. You might have also realized that few of your categories are now not there because they are not performing well, maybe.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The idea behind starting off or picking up a particular category is like something that we all should be aware of. So
absolutely. So games, for that matter, a lot of our colleagues used to talk about, hey, why don't we, sort of launch games, because gaming is huge. Then I know there are few startups who actually sort of offer party kits.
Yeah.
Right. So these are the kind of things that people have identified. I don't want a barbecue, but having it or having an access to it when I have a party at my home, why not? So yeah.
All right. Okay, so now moving one step ahead and talking about the entire COVID phase. I don't know if it's over or if we are still in mid of that, but like, how did you respond after getting to know about the entire lockdown stuff happening, and what were the first step taken by, like, since you have an authority and you take care of so many things, what was your approach to this?
The first thing was definitely, it involved a lot of unlearning. Anything and everything that we were doing, even till March, we knew is not going to work. And the first thing that I think most of the industries, and at least us, we thought of that we have to do is think of the users, think of the customers. So what are the things or the challenges that they are facing?
Right.
And how can we improvise and make sure that we know that we don't have time, we know that we are short of resources because we are not coming together, and working. So it was a fairly new situation for all of us. Working from home is not new, but making sure that the operations is running, making sure that people are still safe, and at home they have all the resources while are still connected and discussing about situation which is changing every day. If I
With
talk
all the
about
government regulations and rules coming in picture.
exactly, and those regulations were sort of changing every every second day. So we did not so of course there was a lot of anticipation, but any decision that was taken was always kept by keeping users and customers in the center. And the first thing that we did was respond to all the questions. A lot of people who actively reached out to us, and it was very, very important to give a listening ear in terms of hey, we are there, don't worry, whatever the situation be, we are going to take care of you. So those were the first few steps that we took. We made sure that we tell people that if they are planning to go back home after the lockdown or whenever the lockdown lifts, they will not have to pay anything extra, because there were customers who who were about to close their subscription anyway. In spite of lockdown or no, their subscription was anyway coming to an end. And because of lockdown, we could not come and pick up the product. So they were worried, and we told them that you do not have to pay extra. Yeah. Of course, there were some escalations. Of course, there were sort of conversations on social media, but we made sure that we tackled it in a patient way. And people should not feel irritated. That was the core. Next was even when the pandemic hit, as a business we had to think of growth. So what are the things that we could have done to make sure that while there are people who who are concerned, but still sort of moving places or going back home or finding new places because they don't no longer want to sort of stay near offices, how can we reach out to them? We made sure we told them, because the first thing at that point in time, which was in awareness, was how safe is your product, right? What are the measures you're taking? So we created a video, we educated people, we sent emails, and we made sure that people saw the entire process, so that before they are even thinking of renting, they're very assured that this is the right this decision is right. So I think the two important things that people thought of, that whether the delivery is going to happen on time, and how good the quality of product and the safety measures are going to be taken. These were the kind of two things which we had to sort of present to the customers, and this is something that we did right after the lockdown got lifted up.
Got it. And in a nutshell, if I have to explain this entire thing in one sentence, I guess we got pulled back 5 years back. Do you agree to this? Because earlier you only mentioned that educating customer was one of the biggest thing, and I guess we are back to the same place once again, wherein now we have to even the customers that we have acquired, we have to educate them once again. Yeah.
So, correct, in a different way. Yeah, definitely not about the business in a different way. But one thing that I would definitely like to point out is just the way the consumers were also very active. They were looking at different industries, they were looking at different products, and thankfully there were a few brands which were essential brands or essential services which were also open, right? So the kind of SOPs, if I may say, that got sort of framed and were presented in front of customers helped a lot of categories like ours to sort of strengthen that. So I think that helped a lot, and this entire learning between cross industries worked really well, especially during this time.
Nice, that's great. All right, so if we talk about rental industry in general, again, covering all the aspect of whatever brands we have or whatever startups we have who are renting multiple things. Um, there are various other factors as well, because if I just talk about ideal customer, the geography plays a big role, the occupation plays a big role, but at the same time age also plays a big role. And earlier trends used to be like, okay, people of 18 to 20 years of age or 21 years of age are TG, are the people who we really want to target. But over the years we have also seen that, let's say, even someone who is in 35 or 30s, he's also very much interested in renting. So what do you think, like, is age one of the biggest factor, or it's just another factor?
You'd be surprised. So, I speak to a lot of customers, and I think that's one of the important ways that I feel that I can, can connect to user, I can connect to customers
Yeah.
and understand what they're thinking, and not always you want to speak to them because you want to derive an insight, but just
Just
general
speaking.
understanding of the business service, etc.
Yeah.
And I have actually spoken to a gentleman who is 55 years old, and
Okay.
he was in Bangalore and he rented with us, and it was so nice to hear him talk, hear him speak. And I think it has a lot to do with the mindset
Yeah.
than with the age, because the moment you know that these are the kind of things that just get attached with you, and whenever you move you don't have that kind of independence, you suddenly think of alternatives, you
Right.
suddenly think of alternatives that can give you independence, that can give you assurance that what, this is the kind of flexibility that you need, and here we are providing that. So I
Makes.
think more than age, more than demography, it's a lot to do with the mindset of people. But yes, I think we are there's a long journey to get in that kind of mindset. If today I talk about if I ask my parents to rent something, they will have a huge question mark. Even if I work in a similar industry, in that industry, they will have a huge question mark in terms of why am I asking them to rent. But like I said, still a long way to go. But age definitely is a prime factor, because it
Yeah.
starts, our low hanging fruits are there. The customers who are immediately going to get into the zone of renting are in the age between, let's say, 21 to 35, or 32 if I may say. But this entire thing has to do a lot with the mindset, because you would find a 22-year-old also buying because, hey, I don't want to rent because I'm not sure XYZ reasons. And like I said, I've spoken to someone who's 55 and happily renting.
Got it. And again, it has been here for quite some time, and we have seen that it's not a completely wrong idea, because we a lot of people who are renting different kind of commodities, and it can be vehicle, it can be clothes, it can be furniture, appliances, and anything. And we understand that people are gradually realizing that renting stuff is much more affordable way to live. But do you think this will lead to the downfall of actual commodity providers?
Do you mean buying?
Yeah.
When you say commodity,
Yeah.
I think it is. It's literally the way of living. There are certain products that you can think of, renting, but not everyone is going to be in that life stage or in that mindset for a very long time. While, like I said, sharing economy is going to stay, and there are so many niche categories that are coming up, but I don't feel that people will stop buying products, because there will always be some set of people who will have a very different sort of outlook towards things, and different. And it's just so ingrained in our mind that rooting it out completely from our thought process, it's not going to be possible. I'll share a small story, or sort of business experiment that we did. We actually started a clothing subscription,
Yeah.
in Bangalore. You're aware of that.
I was
So
going
it
to ask one question around that, but yeah, please go ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
So we actually did clothing subscription for men.
Yeah.
It was formal shirts will come to you, 7 shirts tagged, neatly packed, and it will come to your doorstep. And there were takers. We got close to 300 400 orders for that. And some very, very positive response. There were different reasons that we had to stop the operations and we discontinued that category. But there are takers of such initiatives as well. But does that mean that the same people are not going to buy clothes? I don't think so.
My idea of asking this question was completely because we see a lot of debates when we talk about rental. It's all about RMI versus EMI. People are like, okay, if I can pay rent on a monthly basis, why not go for EMI? But people who are choosing to rent, they are seeing much more than RMI versus EMI, because there is another thing as well, because people don't want to actually carry that baggage.
Yeah. And I really don't think that, we are standing against buying. I don't think that we are standing against buying. It's just one additional, it is an additional way of accessing lifestyle products. I would see it that way. I have always even in our communication, we've tried to stay away from the whole versus game, because we don't feel that this is this versus that. This is another way of accessing, and let the consumers decide, let the users decide in terms of whatever they want. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Now, moving one step ahead, we are in the month of December. This year is about to end. This whole pandemic thing has been with us for 9 months, and I don't know how many months it's going to be.
Yeah.
But rental industry, if I just talk about its functioning, it is back to normal. You can operate it in the same way we were operating it before March 2020. Can you talk about, or have you seen some sort of trends or some sort of change or some sort of things that you would like to share that is different from the pre-COVID era?
I think there's still a lot of uncertainty, in terms of what is going to happen, and in terms of the movement. Okay. Are people are going to stay in their hometowns, or do they want to come back? When they talk about work culture being a hybrid one, how is it going to pan out? Okay. There are these questions which are very crucial. But in any way, I think it is a great sign for the industry, for a simple reason that even if people are, for example, staying at home and coming to their organizations for a month or two, house is important and furniture is important. Right. So whether you're staying in your hometown, which may be in a tier 2 or tier 3 city, you would need furniture appliance. You would need furniture. And if you're getting back to the business and you're coming to the place where you work, you will need it, right? So I think there is a lot of scope in introducing the service, like you had mentioned in the earlier question, to more cities. I think that's a great sign. Like I said, we launched in Ahmedabad because we realized that there's a huge need out there, right? There will be a need of resources that are required for remote work, right? Laptops, modems, internet, so many other things have to be packaged and provided to the employees. So I think this way or that, I definitely see that it is very exciting. And if you're staying in a house, a requirement of a normal setup is very, very important. I think it is going to go a little a notch above, because when you were spending, let's say, 8 to 10 hours in an office, you did not think so much of how your house setup is. You're okay with a couch, you're okay with a bed, or not having a bed and sleeping on a mattress. Right. But the more time that you spend on home, you are definitely going to think of renting these products, and maybe I can have a recliner, maybe I can have a nice bookshelf. So I think that is when one would start thinking of making the space inside the house better as well, and hence bringing renting into consciousness and awareness.
Makes sense. And yeah, I totally agree to that. But I would like to know your views on one more thing, because we, in all the industries, we talk about acquisition and we talk about retention. Pre-COVID era, we know, we have been trying to manage the balance between acquisition and retention, new users and the existing customers. But do you think that
Yeah.
now retention would end up being a little bit on a higher priority than acquiring users?
Um, if you talk about growth, I think retention is very, very important.
Yeah.
We definitely saw some sort of higher churn when we were, when people started moving, when they did not know when it is going to end. None of
Right.
us, today know about it. But a lot of people started going back home, and they were worried and they did not want to pay rent and wanted to return products. And we launched a feature called pausing the subscription, where you can simply pause, return the products, and whenever you're back, you can start paying the
Nice.
rent.
Nice.
Right. So I think thinking again, bringing users to the core, and thinking about users, and is there a way that you can innovate your product? Is there a way that you can sort of make certain changes in your product or service, so that it is even more customer friendly, even more
Right.
user friendly? I think retention is definitely going to be a challenge. But if you have quality users, if your product is giving a lot of value to those users, you will find a way. And I'm sure that both retention and acquisition will play a very, very important role in going ahead as well.
Okay, interesting point, because I was of a fact that okay, what customer base which we have already acquired, probably that it makes sense to retain them, because it's right now it's a gray area for anyone to make a comment if people are going to return back to their places or not. But interesting point.
Yeah,
I like.
yeah.
Thanks for adding this dimension. Uh,
the
now,
the sorry, I would just add that. The reason I say that is, the service is such,
yeah,
or the offering is such, where I can't impose. If a person is leaving the house, I can't impose my products on that person.
yeah.
And hence, sometimes retention does not is not in my hands. And that is why I said, new ways of user acquisition, and hence getting quality users on the platform will also be very crucial for growth.
True. All right. So now that we like, let's say if we just talk about Rento Mojo, or we talk about, and you can answer this from Rento Mojo's perspective or industry perspective as well. But we have been in here in the ecosystem for quite some time now. All right, and but we still know that there are many roadblocks ahead of us in order to make make this entire industry flourish. What, according to you, are those roadblocks, and do you think that it can be overcome in near future?
Um, Today, I feel, I feel today the industry or the entire category is very, very transaction driven. There
Mhm.
is no brand love.
Okay.
Hey, I know of this brand, I know of that brand, I've heard of this, but how do I make people love the brand? How do I make people, how uh, like people give examples of Dove, Coca-Cola, right? When they are the king of that particular
True.
industry or category.
Yeah.
Um, I think rental industry currently is small, and like how you and I were talking about it, that if people are not in that mindset, or not in that need stage or life stage, they probably don't even know renting exists. So
Yeah.
it is very, very important for people to for renting to get into their consciousness, to get into their awareness. And then I think that is a bigger challenge, so that Lord, you know everyone knows of renting today, everyone knows of Coca-Cola today, everyone knows of Dove, and many other brands.
Right.
But even renting as a service or a category, not everywhere, for example, in the country may be aware of. And hence, uh, you know uh, making them aware about this is very, very important, and probably some sort of challenge. Another thing is, like I said, creating brand love. When you have developed an understanding of the industry, how do you still emerge as a brand leader? How do you still develop brand love? How do you make it not very transactional, but something that a customer sort of associates with and finds it cool, like, hey, I'm actually doing it. How do you make people uh, feel proud about associating with your brand? So I think these are the kind of things that I definitely see, whenever things get better, will be the next challenge for the category and us as well.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense also, because if I talk about a stat and I quote that, so PwC reveals that the rental market will touch $335 billion by 2025, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So that totally shows that there is a lot of opportunity that lies ahead in the industry, for the industry leaders to explore.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Got it. Okay, so I'm left with three more questions, and I'll just quickly check if we have got some questions.
Sure.
Uh, my bad, none of them have question you as of now. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll go ahead with my questions for time.
Sure.
All right. So moving to the next question. Now that we know that India in itself has a great potential of renting, uh, and then this entire advancement in automation and technology is also going to help us. Do you think the government bodies, or there is some sort of action or initiative taken by all of these government bodies to promote renting? Have you heard, or do you know of any such initiative?
Unfortunately, no. I haven't come across anything close to that. But I also feel that there's so much conversation around uh, 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 being Atmanirbhar Bharat, and
Yeah.
talking about organizations which are
Local
sort
service.
of driven and trying to bring change. Going by that fact, I think there is a lot of responsibility on our shoulders to sort of bring this thought to people who want to spend responsibly. And I don't have a lot to sort of contribute on in this topic, but I think it is just a responsibility of new age uh, organization like ours, who sort of are developing, identifying a user problem, and sort of offering solutions to them. So yeah.
All right. And uh, do you feel that we have talked about the growth part, we have talked about how product plays a big role, how category plays a big role, but we also know that, and having worked in the same field, we also know that tech has a big role to play. And with the commencement of AI and ML coming in picture, rental industry can be just another level. What do you think about this?
Absolutely. I mean, the category that we started and, which we sort of discontinued for a while, after a while, we realized that that could have, uh, ML and AI would have helped us so much in understanding what are the kind of,
Yep.
products people are looking at, the colors that they're choosing, the sizes, etc., and
True.
hence, recommending.
Yeah.
Similarly, the kind of products that people are choosing for their home, and is there a way that we can create a recommendation for them, and can there be a recommendation engine, and prompting people to sort of rent another product which may be complementing the previous purchase. So I definitely see that AIML will sort of complement and definitely take the growth of this industry to a different level altogether.
Got it. All right. And like you have been in this industry for quite some time, as we have already discussed, and 5 years is a big time. So is there any sort of tips or suggestions, or you want to share your views for anyone? Because I have asked this to a lot of people. This has been a phase wherein a lot of people have lost job, a lot of people have started their own career. So is there any like you can share some thoughts that is agnostic to rental industry for anyone who is joining as a fresher, or who is maybe, let's say, was working somewhere else and is now going to join someone in rental industry?
um, I, whether this industry or not, the only thing that I would, share to anyone who's listening or would listen is, take the first step. I
Okay.
think we just spend like and including me, right? We just spend a lot of time thinking that, if I do this, I get this. If I do this, I get that. But unless you're doing that, you will
Yeah.
not get it.
Yep.
So I think taking the first step is very, very important. This is also a time when I was reading one of the posts on LinkedIn that, uh, uh, new year, new me, and hence new resolutions will start coming up. But if you're making your resolutions, for January 1. Why can't you start making them today? So, when you are in January, you're actually starting that. So I think, just take the first step and, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
All right. Okay, and what's that one thing that you are looking up for in 2021 if we talk about just rental industry and how it's going to function?
Uh, I think so.
It's
Definitely.
It not be something that you specifically are working on, but let's say as a consumer or let's say as a person who has already worked in this industry, what is that one thing that excites you? कि, okay, ये होगा, that would be exciting to watch कि अच्छा ये कोई solve कर पा रहा है क्या?
Vaccine aa jaye. I think
You,
all of us are thinking like that,
but it's
thinking about that.
rental industry.
I think in rental industry, having a little more clarity, and this is a very, very personal view. It has nothing to do with what the organization thinks,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
It's a very, very personal view. Having a lot more clarity in terms of how are different industries, different organizations going to pan out when it comes to hybrid working.
Okay.
Because it will help us also understand what could be the strategies, what could be the next steps, etc. So I think understanding and having a fair version of what a hybrid model of working looks like. I think 2021 should give a lot of ease because December 2020, by December 2020, I think a few things have eased up. We don't have a vaccine yet, and hence nothing is sort of structured. But yeah, that is one thing that I'm definitely looking forward to.
All right. Okay, and I have got a question on Instagram, and yeah, this is an interesting one. So, according to you, can you name a category or a product which you would love to see coming into rental industry, which is currently not?
I would definitely, if I were, if I was given a chance, I would have definitely seen how the clothing subscription would pan out. That was very interesting.
Okay.
And what I've understood from my, from peers is, especially, the folks who play a lot of game. I think gaming is definitely one thing that, I would like to see how it pans out. And there's one thing that that has been on cards for a lot of people, not as an organization, but a lot of people, and they keep on asking about, hey, why don't you get cycles to rent? Because that's sort of coming into trend. A lot of people want to commute to offices by cycle. So I think these are the kind of 2 or 3 products that I can instantly think of when adding
I'm going to make it a little tougher for you. Probably you would like not to answer this, but what is that one thing according to you cannot fit in this rental industry, even if you try it? Like, yes, obviously there can be a million ways of doing it and making it a success, but according to you at this point of time, you think that, okay, no, this won't work in rental. Is there any particular product?
Nothing that comes to my mind, honestly, but anything which has to do with a lot of frequent usage, I think that will definitely not work, because today people are a lot more finicky about hygiene and safety than ever before. So anything which has higher frequency of usage probably will not be a big hit today.
All right. Okay, so yeah, this brings me to the end of this session. Talking to you, Tulika, was really fun. Why I'll tell you, because it's been quite some time that I have moved out. So going back to the same industry and talking about those terms like category, refurbishment, and all of these things really felt like, okay, I'm back to the same place. So it was fun having you. Thanks a lot for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ayush, for having me and the entire team of Growth folks. Thank you so much. Thank you.